She kept saying her season won't calm down unless I stay. Kale stared out of the viewport of the small shuttle, feeling a mix of awe and unease. He had traveled across 3-star systems to reach this colony, a human settlement on a world unlike any other. But Orlia's beauty was deceptive. The weather was dangerous, wild, and entirely unpredictable. Kale checked his instruments again. The readings made little sense. Storms appeared and vanished in minutes. Winds shifted direction without warning. Temperatures fluctuated violently. Every scientist who had tried to understand Orlia had left frustrated. But Kale had been chosen not because he was the smartest, but because he was patient, observant, and stubborn enough to stay when others fled. The shuttle landed with a soft thud. Outside, the colony's domes glimmered in the strange light, standing like pearls on the rolling purple plains. The air smelled faintly metallic but breathable. Kale adjusted his suit and stepped out, letting the gravity settle his feet. The moment he did, he felt it, a subtle vibration in the ground, as if the planet itself was alive and aware of his presence. He had barely taken 2 steps when she appeared. Lyra stood at the edge of the landing field, her form elegant and otherworldly. Her hair shimmered like spun silver, and her eyes reflected the stormy sky above. Kale felt a strange pull in his chest, an unexplainable sense of familiarity. She moved gracefully, each step seeming to flow with the planet itself. "Kale," she said, her voice soft but commanding, carrying over the faint wind. "You've come at last." Yes," Kale replied, taken aback. "I'm here to help. I was sent by the Earth Science Council." Lyra's lips curved in a faint smile. "The Council sent you, but it is not them I need. My season will not calm down unless you stay." Kale frowned. He blinked, trying to understand. "Your season?" she nodded. "The storm, the weather. Orlia's seasons are sensitive. They respond to life, to emotion. And right now they are angry." Kale's mind raced. He had studied weather systems his entire life, but he had never encountered a planet like this. "Angry? That's metaphorical, right?" he asked. Lyra shook her head. "No, literal. If you leave, the storm will grow. If you stay, you can help it find calm." Kale swallowed hard. The human part of him wanted to run, to treat this as superstition or an overactive imagination. But something in her eyes, the intensity, the calm authority, made him pause. The instruments in his pack began to beep erratically. The air seemed to hum. I'll stay," he said finally. Lyra's eyes brightened. "Good, then come with me." She led him toward a dome at the center of the colony, a place marked by intricate metal spirals and glass panels. The dome shimmered faintly, as if it were a living structure. Inside, Kale saw something extraordinary. Instruments and consoles were arranged in patterns, but they were not purely scientific. Strange glyphs glowed softly, intertwining with the data screens. Kale realized they were measuring more than temperature and wind. They were tracking something intangible, the planet itself. "You will work here," Lyra said, gesturing to the room. "But you must understand, your mind alone cannot control the season. You must connect with it. Listen, feel, help it calm itself." Kale hesitated. "Connect with the planet." "Yes," Lyra said simply. "Orlia is alive in ways humans rarely understand. Its weather is its voice and its moods are real. You must learn to communicate." For hours, Kale watched and listened. At first, he felt ridiculous. He measured wind currents, humidity, and energy flows. He tried to apply every principle of human meteorology, and yet nothing worked. The storm continued, dark clouds swirling violently across the plains, winds bending towers of the colony's dome structures. Then, without warning, the storm shifted. A bolt of lightning struck far away, and Kale felt a jolt of energy run through the dome's floor. The instruments reacted violently. He looked at Lyra. She was calm, almost serene, eyes closed as if she were listening to the wind. "Try not to think," she said softly. "Feel, let it guide you." Kale did. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and let the sounds and vibrations of Orlia fill him. At first, it was chaotic. Winds whipped his imagination like the storm outside, but slowly he noticed patterns, pulses, rhythms. The storm was not random. It was reacting, responding to unseen signals to the emotions of those nearby. Hours passed. Kale opened his eyes. The readings were changing. The storm, though still violent, was less chaotic. Its energy was focused, more deliberate. He looked at Lyra, astonished. It's listening, Lyra nodded. Yes, but you are only beginning. It will take more than observation to calm it completely. The planet responds to courage, to determination, and to connection. You cannot treat this as a problem to solve. You must be part of it. Kale spent the next day learning more about Orlia's moods. He walked through the colony, observing how humans reacted to the unpredictable weather. Some were fearful, some tried to fight it with technology, but none truly understood the living planet. Kale realized the truth. Humans alone with their science could not tame Orlia. They could survive, perhaps, but the storms would never calm fully without Lyra and without him. At night, he sat outside the dome, watching the violet sky swirl above. He felt the energy beneath his feet, a heartbeat in the ground. It was mesmerizing, almost frightening. He thought about Lyra's words. His presence mattered. Somehow, his courage and attention were tied to the storm's fury. The colony's leader, a human named Marin, came to speak with him. Kale, you realize what you're saying, right? That one person can influence the entire planet's weather. Kale nodded slowly. It seems impossible, but I feel it. It's like the planet reacts to intention, not just tools. If I stay, it might calm down. If I leave, Marin's face darkened. Then the colony could be destroyed. You understand that? Kale nodded again. I do, and I won't leave. Lyra appeared silently behind him. Good. Then you are ready to learn more tomorrow. Tonight you rest. The storm listens even now. Kale lay in his bunk, thoughts racing. He had trained for disaster, for extreme conditions, but nothing in his career had prepared him for a planet that was alive. A planet that responded to presence and emotion. He realized that Orlia was testing him, probing his mind and heart as much as his body. And he understood with a growing sense of awe that humanity had never faced a challenge like this before. As he drifted into a restless sleep, the storm outside pulsed with energy. Bolts of lightning danced across the purple plains, clouds spiraled like living creatures, and the wind whispered a language Kale was only beginning to understand. Somewhere in the chaos he felt a connection, a fragile thread linking him, Lyra, and the planet. It was the first night of many, and Kale knew one thing clearly. Orlia's season would not calm down easily, but he had the chance to help it. And in that moment, he understood the truth Lyra had been trying to teach him. Human courage, empathy, and presence mattered, even on a world that seemed beyond comprehension. Outside, the storm raged, but within the dome, Kale felt a spark of hope. He was not alone. Humanity had reached Orlia, and through him, it could make a difference. The planet was alive, and now, so was his purpose. The morning light on Orlia was strange and beautiful, a soft glow that seemed to come from the clouds themselves. Kale stepped out of the dome and took a deep breath. The storm from last night had lessened slightly, but it was far from over. The wind still carried a low, humming energy, and the sky was streaked with violet and gold. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Lyra was already waiting, her silver hair catching the shifting light. She smiled faintly. You felt it last night, didn't you? Kale nodded. Yes, it's like the planet is alive, it reacts to me. Not just to you, Lyra corrected. It reacts to everyone, but it listens to intention. It listens to courage and determination. You were brave, and that's why it started to calm. But today, the storm will test you more. Kale's stomach tightened. Test me. Yes, Lyra said simply. Orlia's seasons are changing because they sense fear, uncertainty, and anger. If we can guide them, the colony will survive. If not, she let the sentence hang. Kale swallowed hard. He knew what was at stake. The colony depended on him, and now he understood that this wasn't just science. It was connection, empathy, and courage. Humanity had never faced a planet like this, and yet that knowledge made him feel alive, a growing threat. Kale spent the morning walking through the colony, observing how humans reacted. Some were calm, moving about their duties as if nothing were happening. Others were panicked, shouting over the roar of the winds or trying to reinforce the domes against sudden gusts. Machines and instruments beeped erratically, failing to predict the sudden changes. He noticed Marin, the colony leader, arguing with a team of engineers. "We need more shields. The storms will destroy the hydro farms." "Shields won't help," one engineer shouted back. "The storms shift too fast. They're alive. Nothing we build can hold them back." Kale paused, realizing the truth of the engineer's words. No human technology could fully control Orlaia. Survival depended on understanding the planet, not fighting it. He felt a rush of purpose. Humanity had tools, science, and intelligence, but sometimes they needed something more: patience, empathy, and courage. That was what he could offer. Learning to communicate Lyra led Kale back to the dome. "Today, you must go beyond observation," she said. "You must communicate with Orlaia. Do not think, do not control. Listen and respond. Feel the storm as it feels you." Kale nodded, though doubt lingered in his mind. How could a human truly communicate with a planet? But Lyra's calm presence gave him confidence. He followed her into a chamber filled with softly glowing panels. The instruments were strange, a mix of science and something else entirely. Lines of light pulsed in rhythm with the winds outside. Kale placed his hands on the smooth surface, and immediately he felt a vibration beneath his palms like a heartbeat. "Close your eyes," Lyra instructed. "Let yourself feel. Don't analyze. Let it guide you." Kale took a deep breath and obeyed. The vibration grew stronger, resonating through his body. He felt the energy of Orlaia all around him, the anger of the storm, the fear of the colony, and, faintly, curiosity. His mind raced with patterns, feelings, and images. The storm wasn't mindless. It was aware, reacting to what it sensed. Hours passed like this. Kale felt exhausted, but slowly he began to notice rhythms, pulses in the wind that matched his own heartbeat. Flashes of lightning seemed almost like signals, not random strikes. The storm was communicating, and Kale was beginning to understand. Lyra watched him silently, her expression serene. "You are learning quickly," she said finally. "Orlaia is responding to you because you are human. Humans can feel and act in ways the planet cannot predict. That is why it listens to you." Kale felt a swell of pride. Humanity had always relied on intelligence, science, and strategy, but here, on this alien world, it was their heart and courage that made the difference. The colony divides. As Kale's connection to the planet grew stronger, not everyone in the colony was supportive. Some humans began to whisper. "He's letting an alien dictate our survival," one engineer said bitterly. "We should be controlling the storms with machines, not letting them manipulate us." Kale overheard the words and felt a pang of frustration. Orlaia was not manipulative. It was alive, yes, but it was not evil. It responded to intention. And the humans who refused to understand that were putting everyone at risk. The tension in the colony grew. Teams argued, morale dropped, and the storms outside became wilder, as if sensing the fear and doubt. Kale realized that Orlaia was not only reacting to him and Lyra, but to the humans' emotions as a whole. Fear made the storms stronger, courage could calm them. Kale spoke to Marin. "We need everyone to trust the process. The planet is alive. It reacts to our emotions. We can't fight it with machines alone. We need empathy, courage, and connection. That is our advantage." Marin frowned but nodded. "I don't like it, but we don't have a choice. If what you say is true, the survival of the colony depends on it." A moment of crisis. By afternoon, the storm had intensified again. Dark clouds churned above the colony, lightning striking dangerously close. The domes shuddered as winds picked up, tearing at their protective layers. Kale felt the energy in the ground surge beneath his feet. Orlaya's anger was growing. Lyra grabbed his arm. "Now, Kale, focus. The storm is testing you. Show it courage, show it calm. It will respond, but only if you trust yourself." Kale closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He pictured the colony as a whole, its people, its buildings, its fragile farms, and sent a feeling of resolve, strength, and calm outward. He did not command the storm. He invited it to calm itself, to listen to him. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a flash of lightning struck, illuminating the clouds in a brilliant violet glow. Kale felt a shock of energy, but instead of fear, he let calm flow through him. He visualized the storm folding in on itself, slowing its rage. The wind responded, the pulsing vibration of the planet aligning with his heartbeat. Lyra's eyes shone. "It is listening," she cried. Outside, the storm's fury began to lessen. Clouds still swirled, but they were no longer chaotic. The wind's howls softened and the lightning strikes became fewer. Kale opened his eyes, amazed. He had done it, at least partially. But there was no time to celebrate. A loud rumble came from the horizon, another storm, even larger than the first, approaching fast. Orlaya was testing them again, and Kale realized this was only the beginning. HFY moment that evening, Kale stood on a ridge overlooking the colony. The sun, or what passed for a sun on Orlaya, glimmered faintly through the remaining clouds. The colony was safe for now, but the lesson was clear. Human courage, intelligence, and empathy were not just useful, they were essential. No alien, no machine, could have calmed the storm the way he and Lyra had. Humanity had something unique, the ability to connect, adapt, and act with both heart and mind. Lyra came to stand beside him. "You are learning," she said quietly. "The planet respects you because you are human, but the next challenge will be harder. The storms will grow stronger and fear will rise. You must be ready." Kale nodded. He understood now that survival on Orlaya was not about domination or technology. It was about understanding, connection, and courage. Humanity could thrive here, but only if they embraced qualities that even the planet had not anticipated: empathy, ingenuity, and heart. He turned to look at the colony. The people were tired, anxious, but alive. He felt a swell of pride. Orlaya was a test, a challenge unlike anything humans had faced, and they were rising to meet it. Not with weapons or machines, but with courage and determination. Kale realized that this was why Lyra had said he needed to stay. The storm, the planet, the colony, they all needed humans, not because humans were stronger, but because humans were different. They could listen, feel, and act in ways no other species could. Humanity could make a difference, even on a world that seemed impossible to control. And as the night fell, with stars scattered across the violet sky, Kale felt the connection deepen. Orlaya's heartbeat pulsed through him, a living rhythm he could feel in his chest. He knew the next day would bring greater challenges, but he also knew that together, with Lyra, with the colony, with humanity, they could face anything. The storm had not yet calmed completely, but Kale had hope. And sometimes, hope was enough to begin changing the world. The sky over Orlaya was darker than ever before. The violet clouds churned violently, illuminated by streaks of golden lightning that split the horizon. The winds had grown to hurricane force, and the domes of the colony shook under the pressure. Kale stood on a ridge near the colony, feeling the pulse of the planet beneath his feet. Orlaya's anger had reached its peak. Lyra appeared at his side, her silver hair flowing like liquid in the wind. "This is it," she said. "The planet is testing you, testing all of humanity. The storm will not calm unless we act together. Every fear, every doubt, every human hesitation feeds its fury. You must lead." Kale nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him, heavier than gravity. But alongside it was a strange clarity. He had learned the rhythms of Orlaya, felt its heartbeat, and understood something vital. The planet was not an enemy. It was alive. It needed guidance, not force. The colony was in chaos. Teams of humans ran between domes, reinforcing barriers, securing farms, and helping each other survive sudden gusts that threatened to tear structures apart. Marin, the colony leader, shouted instructions over the roar of the wind. Kale watched them all, feeling both pride and urgency. These people were scared, but they were still trying. Humanity, he realized, did not give up, even when the odds seemed impossible. The storm approaches. The new storm front approached fast, rolling over the plains like a living wall of wind and lightning. Kale could feel its energy through the ground, a vibration that made his chest thrum. Orlia's power was immense, far beyond any human technology. Machines had no control here. Only humans, through courage and understanding, could influence it. Lyra turned to him. "You must act now. Connect with them, the people. Channel their determination, their hope, their bravery. The planet will listen to all of it. Humans have the strength of spirit that no storm can ignore." Kale inhaled deeply and raised his arms toward the sky. He closed his eyes and reached out, not with words, not with instruments, but with intention. He imagined the colony as a single living being, its courage flowing through him. The fear, the panic, the doubt, they were threads feeding the storm. But he could also send hope, calm, and resolve. At first, the storm roared louder as if mocking him. Lightning struck closer and wind tore through the ridge. Kale held firm, focusing harder. The storm responded subtly at first. The lightning flickered, wind softened in small patches, and clouds twisted differently, almost as if Orlia were testing his will. Lyra moved among the colony, her presence steadying the humans. "Follow him," she called. "Listen to him, trust what he feels." Slowly, humans began to do so. They synchronized their movements, working together rather than panicking. Engineers and workers adjusted the domes and shields not out of fear but with confidence. Soldiers and scouts moved with precision. Their collective courage formed a resonance, and Kale felt it pulsing through him. The storm noticed. The turning point. Hours passed in tense silence. Kale focused every ounce of attention on Orlia's heartbeat. He felt the storm's anger, its confusion, its sheer power. But he also sensed curiosity, intelligence, and a strange respect. The planet recognized determination and bravery, the uniquely human qualities that no alien or machine could replicate. Then, the storm shifted. A massive bolt of lightning struck the ground, dangerously close, sending a shock through Kale's body. He gritted his teeth but did not falter. He sent calm through his mind and heart, a message to Orlia: "We are human. We face you not with fear but with understanding. We will act with courage, and together we will survive." The wind slowed slightly. The clouds seemed to pulse rhythmically now, like a heartbeat in tune with Kale's own. Orlia was listening. Lyra's voice carried to him over the roar of the storm. "It's responding. Keep going. Let the humans' courage guide it," Kale shouted to the colony. "Everyone. Trust yourselves, trust each other. Let the planet hear your strength." The humans acted in unison. Engineers reinforced domes with precision. Workers coordinated movements to stabilize vulnerable areas. Soldiers guided teams safely through the wind. And all the while, Kale reached out with his mind and heart, feeling the pulse of Orlia merge with the collective determination of humanity. Humanity's strength for the first time. Kale truly understood why Lyra had said the season would not calm unless he stayed. The storm was massive, sentient, and powerful, but it had never encountered humans acting together with courage and clarity of purpose. Humans did not rely solely on machines or weapons. They used intelligence, creativity, and heart. That combination, the uniquely human spirit, was something Orlia had to respect. Lightning struck again, and Kale felt the jolt of energy travel through him. But instead of fear, he felt resolve. The storm roared, but it could not break the humans' will. And slowly, imperceptibly at first, the wind softened. Clouds twisted and turned in harmony, lightning arcing in graceful, controlled bursts instead of random destruction. Kale opened his eyes. He saw the colony's people, exhausted but determined, moving with a newfound confidence. He realized that humanity itself was part of the solution. Machines and technology could protect, yes, but courage, empathy, and ingenuity, the human spirit, were what truly tamed the storm. The climactic moment the peak of the storm approached, a massive wall of swirling clouds, lightning and wind that seemed almost alive. Kale knew this was the final test. If they failed, the colony would be destroyed. But he also knew they could succeed. Humanity had the qualities Orlia could not ignore. He focused all his attention, sending a pulse of calm and determination outward. He pictured every human in the colony acting with bravery, working together, standing firm. He felt Lyra at his side, her energy steady and reassuring. The planet responded. The wall of clouds slowed, the winds began to soften, and the lightning arced in rhythmic patterns as if Orlia were finally listening. Kale ran toward the ridge edge, shouting to the colony. "Now together, show the planet what humans can do." Every person in the colony joined, their courage amplifying the resonance. Workers, scientists, soldiers, and children, even those who had doubted, acted as one. They moved with precision, steadied the domes, and reinforced structures. And Kale felt it, the pulse of Orlia merging with the pulse of humanity. The storm reached its peak, then began to fold in on itself, calming like a beast tamed not by force but by understanding and courage. The winds softened. The clouds parted. The golden light of Orlia's sun broke through the violet sky. For the first time in years, the planet was at peace. After the storm, Kale fell to his knees, exhausted but elated. He felt the planet's energy pulse gently beneath him, a steady rhythm now in harmony with humanity's courage. Lyra knelt beside him, her eyes shining. "You did it," she whispered. "You helped Orlia find calm, not just you, all of you. Humanity has shown its strength, its heart, and its bravery. You are remarkable." Kale smiled faintly, still catching his breath. "We all did it, the humans, the colony," they believed. "They acted together, that's what Orlia responded to." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and that is why the planet needed you. Not just your presence, but your courage, your empathy, your determination. Humans are unique. You survive and thrive in ways few others can. That is your gift." Kale looked out over the colony. People were emerging from domes, helping each other, repairing damage, smiling with relief. Humanity had faced an impossible challenge and had prevailed, not through technology alone, but through heart, intelligence, and courage. The HFY message. Kale understood the truth now. Humanity's greatest strength was not in weapons, machines, or even intelligence. It was in their spirit, their ability to feel, to act with courage, to connect with each other, and even with alien worlds in ways others could not. Orlia had tested them and they had passed. Lyra stood beside him, gazing at the calm skies. "You stayed," she said softly. "And because of that, Orlia's season will finally rest. But more than that, humanity has proven its worth. Even here, in a place no one else could master, you have made a difference." Kale felt a swell of pride. He had traveled across the stars, faced a living storm, and helped humanity survive in a world beyond imagination. Orlia had challenged them, but humans had risen to meet it. Together, they had achieved the impossible. The planet was calm now. Gentle winds blew over the plains, carrying a soft hum of life. The violet clouds lingered, but they were peaceful, almost content. Orlia had found balance, and humanity had played a crucial part in that balance. Kale turned to Lyra. "I'll stay," he said quietly. "If the planet ever needs us again, we'll be ready." Lyra smiled, her eyes reflecting the golden light. "Yes. You and your people will always be needed. And now, Orlia knows the power of the human heart." Kale looked out over the colony one last time. Humanity had survived, adapted, and thrived, not by force, but by courage, empathy, and unity. And in that moment, he knew that no challenge, no storm, no alien world could ever truly defeat humans. The sun rose fully over Orlia, painting the sky with light. The storm was gone. Humanity had endured. Humanity had triumphed. And humanity had proven that even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the human spirit could make the impossible possible.